to do certain things, one specifically emails, and it's been a little easier for me to make a video. So I have an update for the Black Feminist Landscapes Reading Salon that I facilitate and co-create with a group of other organizers, creatives, and everything kind of in between. Most identify as Black, some identify as queer, and this reading salon has been going on. This is our second year, and we are currently on summer break. I love the reading salon because we get together, and it's really more of a media club because it's not just like reading books. We read like short chapters, articles, listen to podcasts, quotes, right? These types of things. And the update is we just wrapped for the summer um, at the end of May. And so I have been trying to get out this email since then and wanted to make it a video message along with just some other kind of check-in points and other ways for folks in the salon to engage with me. And one being, um, on my YouTube channels. And so I am planning something a little bit different. Usually, the reading salon runs from August to December. We take a break in January, or we take a break December into January, and then we come back usually like February until May. And then we take a break over the summer because I facilitate a summer cohort with another project that I co-organized, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to stay focused on one project at a time. And so that's the schedule. And so we are going to switch things up for the upcoming fall sessions for the reading salon. I had some personal things kind of come up related to my mom and being a caregiver, and it has just taken a lot out of me, and we are still kind of navigating these things. But my work is going to keep pushing on. I just have to switch things up a little bit, and I appreciate the grace and the accommodations with that. So, expanding, like I said, related to media, I would love to host a few sessions in the fall that are film film related. And so I plan to, as opposed to having one reading salon session per month, we are gonna do three, only three sessions this fall. So the plan is to have them have a film screening August, a film screening in October, and then a film screening in December. So kind of watch parties, and then we can get together for maybe 30 minutes, depending on how long. Like each of the films are, we can get together for like 30 minutes to an hour after the film and discuss. And so that will be the update. We're also going to change the day. The reading salons usually happen on Tuesday evenings. I need to change that because of work. So there'll be film screenings, watch parties on Sundays from either like 11 to 1 or 2 to 4 Eastern. Um, so that those are the two updates. We're going to be doing films and then also a change in the day and the time. The first watch party will be on a documentary related to nonprofits and nonprofit harm, institutional betrayal. Many of the folks that I work with, along with myself, have close proximity to nonprofits, and it has just been a recurring theme. Um, the nonprofit industrial complex and the impacts of that, especially, holding certain identities. And so the documentary is called And Other Oppressive Dynamics. And so we'll do that. And I'm really excited about it. I love film screenings, watch parties, community film series. That has been my jam since I lived in Chicago and was organizing. I've done that a few times. There's an article by a local Chicago, like independent, newspaper. They covered one of my film screenings that I partnered with a local organization called Gender Just. And we watched a film called Nas and Malik. I think it's still on Netflix. And then when I lived in Denver, that was like one of the initial ways that I started to connect with community members was by organizing a series of film screenings. And so did that in Denver. I also did a watch party when I lived in Alaska, and we watched Push Out by, oh my gosh, Dr. Monique, and I can't think of her last name. She just got married, and so now I'm getting confused by her last name. But her first name is Dr. Monique, and the film is called Push Out: The Criminalization of Black Girls. Um, so yeah, I'm like, I really enjoy doing that. And so I want to go back to that particular medium. Hello. And yeah, so that's going to happen in the fall. I will definitely make an announcement when I decide the dates, but I just need to get this message out there, and it's just a little easier for me right now to do a video. So that is that update. I would love feedback about that decision too. If you have any suggestions for what film, it can be a short film too, that you would like to view, let me know. Let me know how you feel about Sundays as well. And if the time 11 to 1 or 2 to 4 fits better for your schedule, I want to hear about that as well. This space is specifically centered for Black identified bodies and then Black queer specifically. Um, so there's that. Let's see. The other thing that I have on my check-in list is, y'all know that I have been talking about critiques of the book The Artist's Way. This is kind of like a self-help book, if you will. It's categorized as like a self-help book for artists and creatives. And I don't see many critiques about this book. I see a lot of buy-in related to it. So, you know, I feel like whenever I see artists, and there are other books, but I feel like the first book, one of the main books that I see, um, that when artists are talking about things like wellness or emotions or how those things, mental wellness, like connect to the creative process, usually they're talking about it in the context of the artist's way. And that could either be like full on walking through the book itself, making videos about the book, but also it could be a passive way of engaging in that, and that could be like only doing morning pages, or, only incorporating like artist dates into their kind of practice, and that's the only thing that they, kind of engage with, right? So only engaging with certain concepts and aspects of the artist way, which is fine, right? Because I've done that as well. I've been more passive. I've done more than pages before, and have actually slowly returned back to that practice very, very slowly. But I recognize the value in doing that. The other thing that I've also incorporated myself has been the artist dates. And so I even did a little bit of research about the artist way to see if uh, artists that do like write scholarly papers on different topics, if anyone had written about the artist way. And it does not seem like any art scholars have written about the artist way in any scholarly way. ChatGPT said that it thinks that art scholars just relegate the artist way to like a self-help book, that it's not something that should be engaged with in a scholarly way. And so I found that to be pretty interesting. Um, and so, yeah, looking for, I'm still researching if there are any journals or anything else kind of scholarly that mentions the artist's way. Um, I have kind of a love-hate relationship with it. I think that there are some helpful aspects to it, but I do have some critiques about that. And I've talked about this a little bit on this page, but a little bit on TikTok, but more on YouTube, just kind of like sprinkled in here and there. And I need to gather my thoughts more on it. But I find this book that has kind of transcended time. Um, to be so impactful, for such a wide variety of people, um, to be fascinating, that it has this like temporal aspect to it. Again, it's across time. Folks have returned to this book, but I find it to be inaccessible, related to certain identities, especially like some of the ones that I occupy. And so I just wonder about how how some other artists like reconcile those differences that come up as they're engaging with the text. And what do they do related to those reconciliations, like how do you move around that? How do you make space for it? Um, I find that emotional blocks are an interesting theme to think about related to the artist way. Um, and if you've been following my YouTube channel, you know that I'll come on here and I will do live streams that are titled Regulating My Nervous System. And in those videos, I am, for the most part, silent, very quiet, and sketching, drawing, painting, um, because I'm anxious. And my creative practice really helps when I have high anxiety. And so when I think about that in relation to anxiety and emotional blocks and processing those things while also just being zoned and focused in on, like what I might be doing. Um, there's such a intuitive, meditative, aspect to a creative practice. And when I think about like how some folks talk about the artist way and how it could potentially be helping them. Let me see, I'm trying to pick a good pencil. How it could potentially be helping them. I can definitely see how like artist dates, for instance, help with emotional blocks. Um, so getting outside, right? Exposing yourself to um, not only what's, like what you're engaging in related to your artist date. So if you go to like a coffee shop, for instance, right? Like just the hustle and the bustle of the coffee shop. Um, you're also engaged in just being present with yourself in that moment. Um, and having a different space to really process with different sounds kind of happening in the background, you know, and you just being in a different nervous system setting. Um, so yeah, I want to give, I'm not like poop talking the artist way completely. Um, again, I understand the value. And yeah, like what would it look like for um, something new to be offered that is, just as impactful um, as the artist's way, but just in a different way and can be put more into context to current, you know, um, current landscapes. Hmm. The other thing that I put in the title of this video, I said reading salon, emotional blocks. I don't remember what else I put in the title. Shoot, I didn't write it down. Um, hello, hello. Mm. I'm really excited about the reading salon and shifting to more film. Oh, this is really nice. Let's use some crayons on top of this. Um, because I don't have a really, really dark brown like this. Um, I'm gonna use salmon. Yeah, I'm really, really excited about the reading salon and shifting more to film. I think that's gonna be great. These are Neocolor ones. And this one is broken, but I like to layer. Right now it's been like watercolor, then color pencil, and then Neocolors last. Mm. Oh, I think I did say everything. It was the artist way. That was the other thing that was in the title of the video. I'm gonna lighten this up down here. Um, it was the reading salon, emotional blocks, and then the artist way. So I did check in with y'all about that. Um, and like this is one of the ways that I am documenting this process. I have a video planned. The next video that I'll do will be on like experimental documentation styles or tips and the ways that I have been like documenting um, my creative journey, my projects, the exhibitions that I enter. Um, oh, and that's something else that I can say too. The link for the Dream Art Gallery is in the community tab. So the International Association on the Study of Dreams, they had their conference this past week, and one of the things that they offered was, or one of the things that was a part of the program for the conference was a dream art exhibition. And so I got accepted in the dream art exhibition. And the link, if you want, and like an example would be if you want an idea for like an artist date, you can check out this virtual art exhibition. And that information, like I said, is in the um, it's in the community tab. So artists from all over the world have shared their art that is specifically around like dreams. And I'm also in the exhibition. And so, yeah, this channel is like a way for me to document um, like that as an example. And then the project that's associated with that um, is I've been reworking what I submitted for this particular art exhibition. So I've been talking about that, and all the videos that have an elephant on the front are related to me reworking that particular piece as well. I want to expand on it. Um, and so, yeah, I'm talking about that in some of those videos. So if that sounds like your jam, and all the other projects that I have going on, I will continue to share those things with y'all. I posted this kind of halfway done on my Instagram yesterday, and I called them anxiety mushrooms. Um, all right, I will be back on a little bit later.